What's going on, nation? I'm Scott from MuscularStrength.com, and today we'll be covering the next muscle group in my Stretch Flex Overload series, and this time, it's the triceps. But if you missed any of the muscle groups we've covered, like chest, back, shoulders, biceps, I will post a link to the entire playlist in my pinned comment below, so make sure you check it out. Also, remember, although this is an advanced training technique specifically designed to help you hard gainers build more muscle, if you're not a hard gainer, you can still utilize this technique, and I will explain how at the end of the video. Now, the strategy behind Stretch Flex Overload is simply utilizing 2 isolation exercises to work on your mind-muscle connection, and then performing a 3rd compound exercise to completely annihilate the muscle group you're trying to target to spark some serious growth. The first exercise, the Powerbomb, will place the majority of the resistance during the negative when the triceps are fully stretched. The second exercise, the Rope Pushdown, will place the most resistance on the triceps when they are fully flexed. And then to overload your triceps, you're going to do weighted dips or the close grip bench press to completely destroy them with maximum weight. As for the routine specifics, you're going to perform 8 to 10 reps per exercise and complete 4 rounds of all 3 movements, only resting 60 to 90 seconds after you complete 1 round of all 3 exercises. Remember, guys, it's a tri-set, so there is no rest between exercises, and you're going to complete 4 total rounds. But before you start this routine, I recommend that you do a warm-up, and what I mean by that is some sort of elbow and shoulder warm-up. You're not going to be putting your elbows in a compromised position, but some people do experience elbow pain while extending their arms on exercises like the Powerbomb or the Pushdown. So all you have to do for your shoulders is a few sets of 12 to 15 reps of shoulder breakers, and before you start each exercise, perform a light set of each movement for 15 to 20 reps. That should be enough to get the blood going and loosen up the tendons and ligaments in your elbow joints. Now on to the routine. The first exercise you're going to do is the Powerbomb. I'm going to utilize this exercise to focus on the stretch portion of the movement. Now, when doing a Powerbomb, also called a dumbbell seated overhead tricep extension, obviously my name's way cooler, we're going to do these seated. And the main reason why is because we're not really trying to target our core at all. If you were to do this exercise standing up like this, you have to flex your glutes and flex your core in order to be able to stabilize to lift a lot of weight. Our focus is really feeling the stretch during the negative portion of the movement. So by doing these seated, we can take a lot of our core out of the equation. You'll still have to flex your core, but by taking out our legs and the majority of our core activation out of the equation, we can funnel more energy into our arms to ensure that we're lifting as much weight as possible and really focusing on the negative. And so proper form for this exercise, guys, is going to be like this. You're going to hold the weight above your head, and you're going to try to keep your wrists as straight as possible. And like I said, the goal of this movement is to focus on the stretch. So as you go down, control the weight, and you're going to go all the way down as far as your arms can go. Really focus on that stretch. Hold it for a second, and then come back to the top and repeat for reps. And now you guys will notice I'm going all the way down. So if you didn't do your warm-ups yet, this might hurt your elbows. So make sure you do your warm-ups and go light enough so that you can go all the way down with this movement and really maximize the stretch at the bottom. This isn't how you're supposed to do this exercise. These are called half reps. These don't get you any gains. You get the most muscle damage during the negative and the stretch portion of the movement. So all the way down, back to the top, and repeat for reps. And now, as a special treat, for those of you who remember to subscribe and click that notification bell so you never miss a new video upload from me, I'm going to show you how to do this exercise with a bigger dumbbell as you start getting stronger and lifting more weight. And there's a little trick that I like to do that helps me get into position and out of position no matter how much weight I'm lifting. So, this is a 100-pound dumbbell. All you have to do is this. You're going to hold with 2 hands, and you're going to go between your legs and thrust it up and throw it on your shoulder, and then hold it like this. Once like this, you're going to sit down. And then once in the seated position, get a nice firm grip on it with your hands, and then you're going to kind of pop the dumbbell up by pushing with your hands and shoulder at the same time. So, boom, just like this. And then I place it on my head while I readjust my hands. And then once you're ready to go, keep those wrists straight. Focus on that slow negative all the way down. Push the weight up and repeat for reps. And then to lower the weight, I put it on my shoulder and then I just do this. And that's how you handle them big dumbbells. Let's move on to the next exercise. For the second exercise, we're going to be focusing on the flex portion of the movement, and we're going to be doing a rope pushdown. And the reason why we're using the rope instead of the V-bar, and I actually just made a video about this. If you haven't seen it yet, I'll put a link in my pinned comment below. But when you're using the V-bar, this will allow us to overload the triceps as much as possible and really take advantage of that negative. But however, we're trying to focus more on building a stronger mind-muscle connection versus really overloading the triceps. So utilizing the rope attachment will allow us to focus on a harder contraction at the bottom of the movement and get a much harder flex at the bottom as well, because we can get a little bit more shoulder extension at the bottom by using the rope, because the rope's going to allow us to come out to the sides of our body real quick. So the way you're going to perform this movement, guys, and I want to make sure you're using proper form. Proper form is all the way up, all the way down, is you're going to extend your arms. Then even when you get to a full extension at the bottom, you're going to pull back and get that flex and squeeze as hard as you can, and then come back to the top of the movement. And you have to make sure on every single repetition you focus on those 2 steps. So step 1, elbow extension, and then you're going to go into shoulder extension in the back. So it's not just this, okay? We're not just doing a rope push down, we're flinging weight around. We're doing this exercise with purpose. So every single repetition, once again, full extension at the bottom, and then a full tricep flex by extending your arms back as far as you can before going into the next repetition. And the third and final exercise in this TRISET is going to be a close grip barbell bench press. And remember, we're focusing on the overload. So always lift as much weight as you can handle for every single round for all the repetitions. What that means is, by the time round 2 comes, maybe your triceps are feeling a bit fatigued, so you might have to lower the weight a bit. It's as much weight as you can handle for the entire rep range, not as much weight as you can possibly handle on your first set, and then try to carry that through every other set. Because if that was the case, then you're defeating the purpose of this entire workout, which is to fatigue your muscles as much as possible. So it is natural, it's 100% natural to maybe having to go a little bit lighter as you progress through the rounds. Now, one more thing, guys. If you can handle doing dips or weighted dips, I would rather you do that first. And do dips on every single round until you can't possibly do them anymore, and then come over to the close grip barbell bench press. The range of motion is essentially the same. I just know that not every single person watching this video can do a lot of dips, which is why my go-to exercise will be the close grip bench press. And for those of you who would like to see a video comparing dips to the close grip bench press, I'll post a link to that down in my pinned comment section below, and that should really help you understand the basic mechanics of each exercise. But for this movement, what you guys are going to do, once again, is you're focusing on the overload. And the only way you can overload your triceps is by pressing correctly. There are so many ways to mess up this exercise, and I see it all the time in the gym. The purpose of this movement is to target the triceps. And it's not called a close grip bench press because you have to grab the bar like this. This is absolutely ridiculous. This is the one-way ticket to hurting your wrists and your elbows. The only width you need to grab on this barbell is wide enough so that as you perform the movement, your arms are as close to your torso as possible. So you don't need to be like this. This is going to take power away from the movement. You will not be able to bench as much weight with your hands like this. Just keep those elbows as close to your torso as possible. So once you have that figured out, and it's usually about shoulder width grip, when you perform the actual movement, you need to press the weight over your torso. So you're going to come down like this over your torso and then press up over your torso. What you don't want to do is come down with good form and then press up over your chest, because you're going to feel right away a lot of the resistance transferring from your triceps to your chest muscles. Another thing you don't want to do is hold it correctly, but bench over your chest like this. That's going to place a lot of stress in your shoulders and once again, take tension out of the triceps. It should basically look like you're trying to keep 90-degree angles with your elbows as you come down and as you press back up. And that is how you're going to feel the exercise a lot more in your triceps and target all three heads. And if you really think about it, comparing this exercise to dips, it's essentially the same range of motion. When you do a dip, you might be upright, but you're still kind of pressing more through your torso versus pressing up here. So keep that in mind when doing this exercise. Remember, guys, the idea behind this series is to get you in and out of the gym as fast as possible while dealing maximum muscle damage for regrowth, because as a hard gainer, you don't want to be burning too many calories with long workouts. You need those calories to build muscle. Also, make sure you're challenging yourselves with heavy weights. I get asked a lot, how much weight should I be using? Well, guys, the answer is that on every single set, you should use the maximum weight that you can handle for 8 to 10 repetitions. So, if you can go heavier on round 2, then increase the weight. But if your form is breaking down, then go a little bit lighter. It's that simple. Lastly, if you're not a hard gainer and still want to add this workout to your current triceps training, try adding 2 rounds as a finisher after your current triceps workout. Be sure to smash that like button if you want more content like this. And for those of you looking for a new program to build some serious muscle, check out all my 12-week programs on muscularstrength.com, as well as my custom meal plan app as well. And as always, guys, more good stuff's coming soon. See ya.